All right. I came across this article since we're on this whole subject.
Okay.
This was found in here's a liberal outlet called from the Huffington Post.
Sure.
They have a segment called Black Voices.
Is that about Bob Nalbandian?
It sounds very segregated to me, if you ask me.
Okay.
This was written by Kristen Koch, Coke, just like the drink.
Okay.
Student at Princeton University.
Right.
And the title of the article is called Acting White.
All right.
Talk about segregation and racist statements.
Yeah, no kidding.
When I was a little girl, I was skating in an ice arena with my sister. We were cautiously holding on to the wall and each other as we moved around the rink when two guys pushed by us. When I screamed at them for having pushed my little sister, they yelled back, "Shut up, stupid black girl." I remember, huh?
Is that really what they said?
That's according to the article. That's what it says.
All right.
I remember being stunned, and when my camp leader listened in horror at my story and asked me to point out which boy had made the racist comment.
Mm-hmm.
I recognized that the encounter had been based solely on my race.
Had it? Not on the fact that she was stupid?
No.
Okay.
It was all racial motivated.
Right. Because to me, it sounds like it's only 50% racially motivated.
Well, that's kind of the way I looked at it. But anyway. Since then, I have found the racism I experienced to be more covert in nature.
Okay.
So it's hidden. It's
Right.
It's hidden racism.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of people blatantly shouting out their bigoted racist ideals, it became glances and stares and hushed comments, daily interactions and subtle social divides that prove to me that though America claims to be a post-racial society, racism is still very much alive, although maybe not as visibly venomous as it used to be.
I'd like to stop right there. Who does she think is calling America a post-racial divide?
That I don't have the answer to.
I have never once ever heard that. Have you?
No,
I hear quite the opposite.
I do too.
All I ever hear is that it's more racially divided than ever before.
Since this Obama has been elected, I think this country is more racially divided than ever.
You know, I'd like to say that since you said the word "this" in front of Obama, that is a racial. That seems a little racist.
It could be.
It's this Obama.
Right.
Why not just Mr. President?
Because I don't claim him as the president. I didn't vote for him. I don't agree with his policies. I am not behind him as our leader. I don't support him. So I distance myself from him.
Racism.
Yeah.
So you hate him because he's black.
Did you hear any of that in my explanation?
Yeah, it's all in the translation.
Oh, okay. So it's the hushed tones I was using.
Well, that's it. It's the hushed tones. You spewed that message, sir.
Right.
Message said, "I hate him because he's black."
Yeah, you heard that in my description, right?
You know, the sad part is no, I didn't. But if you played this for somebody that, like an Al Sharpton type, that's exactly what they would say.
Is that what it is?
They would say that absolutely 100%.
I didn't use the word thug.
But you don't think that I'm right on that?
Well, I'm going to agree with you.
They would take the term "that Obama" or "this Obama" as racist.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed. So fucking stupid.
Well, it falls into the description here that I just read, that it became glances, stares, and hushed comments.
Sure it did.
Sure. It's more covert now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
James Baldwin once wrote in his highly acclaimed piece, Stranger in the Village, I reacted by trying to be pleasant.
Okay.
It being a great part of the American Negro's education long before he goes to school that he must make people like him.
Right.
As someone who has been raised in a neighborhood whose demographics are only 6% black, I too quickly learned how to be pleasant, which for me translated in how to acceptably be black, behaving in a way that should make me seem more approachable and relatable to my white peers.
Right.
How about just acting like a civilized human being?
Sure.
Not acting white. How about just acting like a civilized human being?
How about just accepting the fact that there are going to be times that you fucking are segregated because of interests?
Right.
That's the part that I never get is what is for the people that are always so fucking anti-racism and, you're racist because you're white and black and blah, all that shit. What is it that they hope happens? What is their end game? Is their end game that white dudes and black dudes are going to be at the fucking, I don't know, Motley Crue show? Is their end game going to be that we're going to go and fucking cheer right along with Jay-Z at a fucking show? Is it that we're going to embrace Tyler Perry movies and they're going to embrace, I don't know who does white movies only, but that's what I never get.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, that's the whole point is that sometimes the culture separates you.
Right.
You don't have to be racist to not enjoy everything that a race does.
Sure.
And that's where I always see such a huge fucking problem is every time you say that you're not for it, you don't support something that a black dude is doing. It's a racist comment.
No, it's just an interest comment.
Yeah, well, you cannot honestly say in most circles, I don't like rap without being accused of being racist.
No, I don't enjoy rap, not because it's black, it's because I don't relate to it.
Right. But what's always unique is that the races, white, I'll just go white versus black for the most part, because there's no 100% consistencies in any of this. For the most part, white guy music and black guy music do not really integrate with each other.
No, they don't.
There's guys like me that like all of it.
Unless, of course, you're Anthrax.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm talking about the audiences.
I know. I'm just making a joke.
But it just doesn't match. So you're not going to find commonality there. And so you're going to have segregation. And that doesn't make it racist. There's not racism in the fucking fact that Metallica doesn't draw more than 5 black dudes a night.
Right.
That's not a racist thing. There's not a racist thing that, Lil Wayne doesn't draw a white audience. That's just how it goes. But the unique thing is when you throw in sports, there's a common interest. And there's no segregation. Very few people will ever watch a fucking basketball game and go, man, this would be better if it was just white guys.
Sure.
Or, man, there should be more black guys on the Indians. Or, nobody comments about race when it comes to sports. Why? Because it's common interest.
Sure it is. And
when it's common interest, then it's all fine. The problem is that everybody looks at racism as a scapegoat.
Right.
They cry racism instead of actually analyzing what is ever said. And that's why we got so much fucking divide today.
Sure.
In my eyes.
Well, I know that you're anti-Steelers, and I'm only going to use it because it's a common interest to me. But
fine.
Do you think the Steelers fill Heinz Field on a home game out of interest because Antonio Brown is the wide receiver and Ben Roethlisberger throws the ball to him and he makes catches probably 85% of the time?
I think so, because it's racial harmony, the white guy throwing to the black guy.
But do you think they cheer for Antonio Brown when he makes the catch?
No, they sit on their hands quiet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or they just cheer for Roethlisberger for throwing the ball.
That's my point.
It's so stupid.
It's dumb.
No,
they're cheering for the Steelers as a team. They don't give two shits if Antonio Brown is black or if James Harrison made a sack on the opposing quarterback.
Right.
Oh, well, he's a black guy who tackled the white quarterback.
Yeah, nobody's when James Harrison killed Colt McCoy and pretty much ended his goddamn Cleveland career. Nobody said, "Did you see the way that black guy took out that white man?"
No.
No one said it.
They went that Steeler linebacker took out our quarterback.
Our guy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Period.
Yeah, it wasn't a racial thing. And that's what just gets failed every time. And I know I'm equating it to sports, but it's the same with these kind of things that we're talking about right now. She, the writer of this thing, is equating racism to just some dumbass saying, "You're stupid."
Right. Well, you know, I'm a Pirates fan. Mm-hmm. Do you think that anybody who fills PNC Park in Pittsburgh go, man, you know, that Andrew McCutchen won that National League MVP, not bad for a black guy?
No, it's just not said. Maybe in 1961 that was going on, but it's just not going on today.
Nobody said that. They were just like, hey, good for him.
Yeah.
You know, great for that Pirate player.
Yeah, it's good for the city.
Right.
That's what everybody says.
Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
I don't know if I told this story, but I personally know someone who was kicked out of Applebee's during a football game for yelling at the screen, "Run, nigger, run."
Well, see, even in my world, that's a little uncalled for.
I know, it's uncalled for to me, but this guy, among his stupid, ignorant redneck cracker friends, he was hailed as a hero.
That's stupid.
Why was he hailed as a hero?
I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
Why? Well, who was he yelling at? What game was it? Who was he yelling about?
I think it was a Redskins game, actually.
Who were the people he was trying to impress?
Whoever else was in Applebee's. I think he just got carried away because that's the way he normally talks and didn't censor himself in a public place.
Okay. All right.
I'll give you that one. That is racist.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because I enjoy sport. I mean, I'm not a huge sports nut. I watch it for the entertainment value, but I don't know statistics and what years people played and who they played for and how many passes they threw or how many yards they ran. And yeah, I'm not into that much. It's just, you know, the entertainment of it. But it never would occur to me that, man, you know, given the Steelers, because that's my favorite team, but I would never say, man, look at that black Le'Veon Bell running for the touchdown. That would never occur to me. It was just like, hey, the Steelers scored a touchdown. Le'Veon Bell, you know, carried the ball. But it would never occur to me, man, that nigger Le'Veon Bell, man, he's a great runner.
Well, here's the wild thing about what this guy said. On the one hand, he thinks it's okay to call a guy a nigger and yell it out and yell out that word in a restaurant. But at the same time, it's okay to cheer for him as long as he got a ball in his hand.
I don't know. I guess I'm beyond understanding that philosophy or thought process.
That's the kind of. I guarantee if I spelled it out to that guy just like I just did to you, he wouldn't understand how those two viewpoints oppose each other.
Yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally, but, you know.
But, yes, I get your point about sports being a unifying factor, unless you happen to be the Atlanta Falcons. And I back that one team official who wrote the email about trying to attract more white people.
Right.
Because I understand what he was actually trying to say. Number one is an internal communication. But what he wasn't so much saying there's too many black people coming to our games. If he was saying anything racial, anything against one particular race, he was actually slamming the white people who wouldn't go to a basketball game because it was somewhere where they might have to actually look at a black person that wasn't holding a ball.
Yeah. Well,
And to me, having read the email, it's like, how can that be misunderstood?
Right. To me, that guy was just being a responsible business guy. I'd love to have him running my business.
Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't figure out how anybody could see it, what he said, as being against black people. To me, it was against white people.
Right. Well, in fairness, he stepped down. He didn't get fired.
Oh, well, fuck him anyway. Hey, I don't follow basketball. You know why? Because there's too many black people. I don't follow hockey either. You know why? Too many white people.
Right. Because I'm sure you choose your sports by the number of ethnicities that are involved.
Oh, of course. Like we all do, don't we?
Yeah, sure.
Hail and kill.
Oh, boy. All right.
It's out of control, man.
I know. It's funny. I mean, it's just silly.
It is.
It's so stupid.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, James Baldwin once wrote in a highly acclaimed piece, Strangers in the Village, I reacted by trying to be pleasant. It being a great part of the American Negro's education long before he goes to school that he must make people like him. As someone who was raised in a neighborhood whose demographics are only 6% black, I too quickly learned how to be pleasant, which for me translated into how to accept or how to acceptably be black, behaving in a way that should make me seem more approachable and related to my white peers.
Okay.
I talked in a way that could make you mistake me for a young wasp. Now, isn't that a racial statement right there?
Yeah, white.
A young wasp.
Right. Okay.
I can tell you what's new in J. Crew fall catalogs. I played badminton throughout high school and listened to some small indie rock bands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all of these things that she's saying, how come that isn't considered a racist thing?
Because there is no, black people cannot be racist.
I guess that's the case.
Yeah.
But everything that was written right there, to me, you know, not because I have an issue with it, but that would be racist.
See, to me, none of it's racism.
But the thing is,
I'm the opposite. I don't look at any of it. So what? She did white things. So what?
yeah, but that's the thing. I'm not offended by any of that.
Yeah.
It's just, but if you apply the same standards,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as the other direction, that would all be considered racist.
But to apply that means that you accept the fucking poorer of the two standards.
I agree.
And that's why I'll say I don't even care.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know, it's to try and say, well, that's reverse racism. You know what? Then that just lowers you to their fucking common denominator.
I agree with that too.
Fuck that.
And it's not as if I felt pushed into this without liking it. I loved the bands, and I loved the badminton, and I loved J. Crew sweaters that filled my closet. But a small part of me was always aware of the fact that, unlike some of my white peers, by doing this, I was helping myself assimilate. There's a key word right there.
Okay.
Into my larger communities so as not to stand out or be singled out for acting in ways that are labeled as ghetto, urban, or black.
Okay, now let's analyze that.
Okay.
Why would you want to be analyzed as ghetto?
That's a good question. But I think that goes back to what Charles Barkley said, is that you have street cred.
Oh, but I'm applying it to this girl here. She's obviously educated. She went to what, Princeton?
Yeah, she's a current student at Princeton.
So she's not a dummy.
No.
She's a smart girl. And her point that she's making right here, right there, read the line again, is that she saw herself elevating herself into being basically a nice and polite and responsible person, which is what she was, growing toward. She saw those characteristics as her trying to separate herself from being, quote unquote, her word, ghetto.
Yeah.
And sees that as bad.
Yeah. Again, you're only a credible black person if you break the law and act like a thug.
Do you personally, as a white guy, do you want to be a credible white guy, or do you just want to be a credible guy?
I just want to be a credible guy.
And that's where she's fucking up.
I know.
Because she doesn't want to be a credible woman. She wants to be a credible black woman.
Right. But that's what Charles Barkley was making the point about.
Right. Oh, no, I definitely see the correlation. I'm just saying this bitch who's writing this thing talking about, trying to basically make it look like it's the white guy's fault, because I know where this is going to go.
Of course.
She's going to lean it down toward it's all the white man's fault for not accepting both cultures and blah, blah, blah. We know where this is going. She's the problem.
Right.
She's not the solution. She doesn't have anything smart to say behind this. Her attitude is, I can't be black because I am currently good.
Right.
And that right there says in your own community that you accept mediocrity to below average fucking performance.
Yeah. Well, no, again, and it goes back to even music related stuff.
Yeah.
You sold out, man.
Yeah.
You sold out.
Yeah. And the other side of that is you didn't sell out, you bought in.
Yeah.
So buy in and fucking live a successful life.
Right.
It just makes no. I just can't fathom how people can actually hear this, especially smarter people. I get the dumbasses. I get the dumbasses that live in the deep ghetto and they never get out, and they look like fucking hoods, so people don't want them in their stores. And they
go ahead and use the word thug, man, because it's
thugs.
No, you said hood.
Oh, same thing.
No, you got to say thug because that is the buzzword.
Oh, okay. Well, the guys that have the thug look, the guys that look like they fucking came out of an NWA video. Of course, when a pack of those guys comes into a store in fucking deep Harlem or Compton or any fucking terrible city.
Well, what makes it terrible, man? Because there's black people there?
Because it's fucking rampant with crime. I don't care who lives there.
Oh, are you saying all black people commit crime? Is that what you're saying?
Nope, I'm not. That's what you're saying. That's always the fucking view. And that is part of the problem, is that when you make a point, it's always fucking diluted with an assumption.
Right.
That is another major problem in race relations today. No matter which side of it that you're on, is if you make just a standard point, as you just did, it immediately gets read as a racial scenario.
Of course it does.
Which is fucking stupid.
I agree.
It lacks intelligence. It takes... Anytime you lean toward a point that isn't made instead of listening to the words that are actually said, what you're really doing is fucking avoiding the thought. And when you avoid the thought enough, you fucking become non-thought out and you become an idiot. That's what an idiot is a person that's not thought out.
Wasn't that what Charles Barkley said, that they were idiots and uneducated people?
And I agree with him.
Yep. Therefore, once I was accepted by my university as a black female, she wasn't accepted by the university as a black female. She was accepted by the university as a new student.
Right, exactly.
Not a black female. I felt like I had made it. From here on out, I would be safe. I don't mean the security that comes with getting into a good school and the knowledge that there are many years of alumni and traditions and endowments that I will now be able to depend on forever. I was safe in the sense that my little student ID card was an indicator that I was not and in no way could be a dangerous black kid, that I was in some way deserving of many of the stereotypes that are cast upon black people as expectations before I even opened my mouth.
Yeah. How about this? There are no stereotypes out there that I've never heard the stereotype that black people make great rocket scientists. Have you ever heard that stereotype?
Never heard that.
Why have you never heard that?
I don't think anybody's ever segregated them out as being rocket scientists.
There's just not a lot of them happening.
No.
Right? There's just not a lot of black rocket scientists.
True.
There might be some, but there's not.
They're not predominantly in that field.
Overwhelmingly, that field is not dominated by black men and women.
No.
Okay? Now, let's go the other route. Black men should be able to play basketball. You've heard that stereotype.
Of course you have.
Why do you hear that stereotype?
Because visually, if you watch any basketball game, predominantly it's dominated by black males.
Right. So, in theory, the stereotypes that she's afraid of having are developed because they represent large enough quantities that people accept them as a reality.
Correct.
So her assumption that she's protected from that, she just has to kind of not blame the people that fucking have the stereotype against her race, but the people before her that have established the stereotype.
Well, let me use a different sport related scenario. If I say hockey to you and say, what nationality or race or national origin dominates hockey?
Canada, Canadians.
There you go. Is that racist?
I don't think so.
It's just fact.
Yeah.
That Canadians are big into hockey.
Right. And that is a stereotype, is that predominantly NHL players will be Canadian, predominantly. And it's the same with this. I'm assuming that she's leaning toward the stereotype of, crime and whatnot, right? Black guys commit crimes and shootings and drive-bys and blah, 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 right?
Right.
I'm assuming that's sort of where she's going. I don't know that those are the exact points, but I'm assuming that's the stereotype that she wanted to be protected from. That stereotype comes. There's not. It certainly wasn't developed because a bunch of people from a bunch of white guys are doing drive-by shootings. Overall, if you take all the drive-by shootings in the country, most of them are not committed by white guys.
True.
They're committed by black guys.
And the same thing with the whole Muslim thing.
Yeah.
If somebody blows themselves up in a marketplace and kills 24 people,
yeah,
it's not just a normal American white guy doing that.
No. And let's be look at right now where this beheading thing is starting to catch on here in the States. Anytime you hear a story about a beheading, what's your first thought?
Muslim.
Yeah, of course. Because that's what they're doing. That's what the Muslims are doing. So that stereotype is developed from the actions of Muslims.
Right.
So she, if she was a Muslim and she didn't want to be compared to other Muslims, she shouldn't blame the people that compare, that make the comparison, that fucking will shy away from her because she's Muslim. She should blame those in front of her that fucking caused the stereotype to be created. She should be damning them, and we say this all the time about the Muslims especially. There's no leaders out there damning the actions of these fucking people, and that's why it proliferates.
Right.
And that's why in the black community that there's the fucking thought of, blacks being, associated with crime, theft, looting, drug use, these various bad things. That's not to say that that other races don't do those things. It's to say that when it happens the most is with that group of people.
Right.
And to blame white people for fucking not wanting to be associated with that is ridiculous. You should be blaming your own community, those in your community that fucking violated your community and made the other races think that.
Right.
That's my point.
Sure. Well, let's take it a different direction since this is the classic metal show.
All right.
If you think classic metal band, what do you think of?
Living Color.
Of course not.
No, you think of Motley Crue, Dokken, Poison, Warren,
Slayer, whatever.
Right.
All white guys, right?
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah. Are there any black guys in hard rock and metal? Yeah.
Of course.
Are they predominant? No.
No.
They're the exception to the rule.
Right. I mean, there's more of them now. There's more than there used to be.
Yeah, but back in the day that it made it popular or most predominantly, no.
Well, even in modern day, I would say that you got less than 2% total of the musicians of the nationally signed and traveling bands. I would say less than 2% of the people are black guys.
Sure.
It's just not that many.
It doesn't mean they don't exist. It's just that they're not the predominant,
Right.
amount.
Right. So the stereotype of a classic metal bands being white guys, that would be the stereotype.
Sure.
And that would be that. And if you don't like that stereotype, then you need to blame the black community before you that did not learn to play guitar and fucking write hooky 4-minute ballads.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly.
That is true. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
You want to hear a paradox?
Go
I can't
ahead.
help it. I'm interested in sociology. What can I say? Okay, there have actually been a lot of so-called black leaders who have been saying these very same things, but most of them are unheard because, guess what? They're scholars.
Mm-hmm.
So right away they're half Oreo, right? By, Barclay's definition.
Well, they're Uncle Tom's.
Yes, they're Uncle Tom. So they're Uncle Tom. So it takes a comedian or a basketball player to actually garner some attention for saying what various black people have been saying for, fucking 100 years.
But you're correct on that, Doghouse. But if more guys did it, then it would start to shift. If LeBron James came out and said the same thing that Barkley said, if he came out and said the same thing, that you fucking inner city kids that are content to be inner city kids are stupid. If he said that right now, it would have some impact on a lot of kids. A lot of kids.
Well, we're talking. This whole deal got started because a reigning Super Bowl champion quarterback is too white.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but where is he? Okay, let's use that as the example. Where is Russell Wilson right now? I saw Russell Wilson's statements behind it. Russell Wilson was like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what too black or not black enough is, blah, blah, blah. He tactfully avoided the confrontation. As the guy that was the target, he should have said, you know what? You're goddamn right. I don't want to be associated with the stereotype that you all are fucking saying that I'm not. That's what I don't want to be. What I want to be known as is successful. What I want to be known as is intelligent. What I want to be known as is a fucking tremendous athlete. What I want to be known as is smart. And you should want that too. And that, as the guy that's in the crosshairs of this, as well as being a black man, as well as being a superstar in the NFL right now, would have had great impact on a lot of kids that just think that they're not fucking shit unless they shoot somebody.
So yeah, he missed an opportunity to, I guess, trade short-term keeping the peace among his locker room teammates with being able to say something bigger.
But play it out into the biggest of pictures, where you're saying that there's been a lot of black scholars that have said this stuff, but it goes unheard. How unheard would it be if it was also being echoed by fucking? I know Chris Rock is one that fucking breeds stereotyping a lot, and or if Chris Rock was saying it, and LeBron James and Russell Wilson and Denzel Washington and famed people if famed people in the black community would say this kind of shit, then it would stop. But instead, you know who gets the fucking microphone all the time? Fucking Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, the biggest two race baiters in the history of racism.
It's like for every one Bill Cosby, there's a Henry Louis Gates and a Cornelius West, or
Right.
Cornell West, or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
College professor. Oh, but he's like African American studies. That's okay.
My point is that Barkley's point is probably the most just of everything that we've heard here tonight. He says it like kind of a retard because he just kind of speaks from the heart instead of really thinking out his points. But he makes a ton of sense, and his logic that the community holds itself back is very just. And this lady that we're reading the article from is absolute proof of somebody that is holding back. She's holding herself back from succeeding.
Well, she's self-segregating is what she's doing.
But she's purposely trying to fucking fit in with the fucking lower class than what she feels like she deserves. You don't go to Princeton to be a thug.
I think she's trying to kind of. I think she's trying to kind of get the best of both worlds, really.
Well, again, she's trying to placate the whites and still keep black credibility.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
And you know what? That's a formula for failure. Just try to be successful. You don't need street cred, and you don't need fucking cracker cred. You don't need neither of them. You just got to go and do your shit and be better than the next person, and then people will fucking work with you. That's what everybody always misses. Everybody always misses that point. Just do better.
Life should always be this simple. In the immortal words of Charlie Tremendous Johnson, don't look for a better job, do a better job, and then you have a better job.
There you go. There's truth to that.
In other news, Wayne Static is dead.
Yeah, we covered that earlier.
Okay.
Another druggie, another guy almost 50 years old taking himself out from drug abuse.
Yeah, what a dope.
Literally.
Fuck. Liked his first two albums, but otherwise, fuck him.
We agree, Doghouse.
Good night.
All right. We're not going to get to your other podcast thing, but I'm going to finish up this girl's thoughts.
That's fine.
And remember, we're going to turn the clocks back 1 hour.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, she talked about her acceptance with her ID card, etc.
Uh-huh.
She says that, let's see here. However, this didn't stop a store owner from turning up her nose at me when I entered her shop and having one of her associates follow me around. And this didn't stop the suspicious stares of residents in a small town where I visited one of my friends this past year. And this doesn't stop my peers from making passive, racist comments that stem from an assumption that because I'm black, I'm less knowledgeable or less qualified. Mm-hmm. Now, I can tell us a personal story here.
All right, go ahead.
This happened back in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend, and this was before I met you,
right?
But I have pictures and I can send that to you. But I had this very beautiful girlfriend. I was with her for like 4 years.
Okay.
Very pretty girl, extremely pretty. She and I went to Target. She and I decided, our relationship was not going to continue on a lifelong path.
Okay.
So we decided we were going to part company amicably.
All right.
So I was shopping at Target for a couple of items for my personal apartment.
All right.
Because she and I were living together.
Sure.
And this store security person who was plain clothes was following us. I mean, it was very obvious that this person was following us.
Okay.
And every aisle that we were in, no matter where we went, this person followed us.
Now, was this when you had the long hair?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I was white.
Mm-hmm.
I am still white. Had long hair.
Right.
Wearing a leather jacket.
Right.
But this undercover security person was very obvious in following us around the store.
Sure.
And my girlfriend at the time, she just basically blurted out, "We're going over to aisle 7 now. Feel free to follow us." Because, they were very obvious about following us and keeping an eye on us.
Right.
But it wasn't racism.
No.
It was stereotyping us because I had very long hair. I looked like a rocker. I was wearing a leather jacket, and I'm sure that probably played into it.
Sure.
Like I was some kind of a thug, and I was going to put a coffee maker under my jacket.
Right. Well, part of it was that they probably got ripped off before by some fucking metal kids.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but the thing is I didn't look at it as, this is a racial thing, man. Whatever. But we recognized that this security in Target was following us.
Okay.
And she called him out, which is one thing that I did enjoy about her, is that she had no problem with calling people out.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was funny that she called out, "Hey, we're moving over to aisle 7, so feel free to follow us."
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, but the thing is, I didn't go, "Man, that person's being racist because they're following us," or "They're being stereotypical because I got long hair."
Mm-hmm.
I just whatever.
You can't make a claim, and I've always thought this, you can't make a claim of racism in a store if you don't know the store's history.
True.
If you don't know, if the store's been ripped off by black chicks and you're a black chick, guess what? You just got profiled. And again, it goes back to the point I made before. Don't blame the store owner. Blame those ahead of you that fucking made that store owner worry about getting their shit stolen.
Exactly.
That's the point that I always come back to with this shit.
You're profiling, man.
Yeah, I am. You better believe if I have a garage sale and some fucking guy comes in, looks like he's off the street and has no money, I'm going to watch every fucking move that motherfucker makes. I am. I'm going to make sure he doesn't steal one piece of baby clothing.
Sure.
Because I have to, because that's what you do.
Exactly.
The nonsensical fucking political correctness of you can't profile, that's fucking bullshit.
I agree.
You absolutely do profile if you want to keep your shit protected and you want to keep yourself safe.
Sure.
Dude, when you go to a bar, and I know you don't go to the bars very often, but when you go to a bar, do you not regularly scan it? Like not just once.
Oh yeah. You definitely keep your eye. You're definitely
you're looking out.
You're vigilant.
Yeah, you're making sure that if somebody's fucking a little bit off, you're either going to stay on the other side of the room with them,
or you're going to leave.
Just ready.
Yeah, you're going to leave.
Yeah, that's what. Why do you do that? Isn't that profiling?
That is profiling.
And why would that be bad? Guess what? You've been to 1,000 bars in your life, right?
Absolutely.
And you haven't been shot.
No.
But have you ever been to a bar where, not on a night when you were there, but just there was a shooting?
Well, I will tell you a personal story.
All right.
My brother, who is 10 years older than me,
okay,
had a good friend. He was a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, at least what I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
Well, this happened over in Sharon, Pennsylvania, which is basically 60 miles to the east of you.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, just a good kid, good friend of my brother's. For some reason, he went into this bar to go talk to somebody he knew or was meeting up with somebody.
Okay.
He was only 18 at the time. Now, 21 was the bar age to get in.
Okay.
For some reason, he went to this bar to go meet up or talk to somebody or something. It was after midnight.
Right.
Went in there to go meet his friend. something happened, some altercation broke out, some guy whipped out a gun, started shooting, caught this kid right in the head, killed him.
Ugh.
Just like that.
Right.
I mean, I'll never forget that as long as I live, because that was just like a devastating thing that that guy was at our house like either that day or the day before.
Right.
And he was dead the next day because he caught a bullet in the head.
Oof,
at a bar in some seedy bar in Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Boy, does that suck.
Yeah, and I'll never forget that. And bringing up that example, ever since, I've always been, just like what you said, very vigilant about my surroundings, who's around me, what's going on, who's doing what, who's acting like an asshole. Right. And if things start getting a little intense, or what I perceive to be intense in the bar, I'm paying my tab and I'm out of there.
Hey, get out before anything happens.
Exactly.
Because when somebody starts shooting or whatever, they're not aiming. They're just fucking flinging.
Exactly.
I do the same thing. But my point is that, she's claiming this absolute racism that somebody followed her in a fucking bar or everywhere else or whatever. Okay, I'm going to claim, there is a bit of racism in that, but it still goes back to the fucking examples of the people before you. That is the problem. No store owner is fucking following a 5-year-old kid. If there's like a parent that comes in with their 5-year or maybe a 10-year, let's go with a 10-year-old kid. Because sometimes a 10-year-old kid will go wander into the toy section or something in like a Walmart, right?
Sure.
Okay. Does the store detective follow that kid?
Only if they're looking for Kardashian clothing.
Yeah, exactly. But no, the store detective doesn't follow that kid. No, why? Because 10-year-old kids have not established a history of robbing the store. So if you're part of a race that has established that tradition of being the ones that rob a store, sucks to be you, but blame your own fucking race.
Right, or a long-haired rocker-looking guy.
Yeah, dude, I get that now sometimes with, now that I grew my hair long, I definitely see that I wait a little bit longer in restaurants and whatnot because some of the waitresses are intimidated by the fucking hair.
Sure.
And I do see a change in that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to start screaming up the fucking Applebee's management.
Profiling, man!
Yeah, why aren't you serving me?
You're profiling, man!
I came in before that guy, and he got his appetizer first. It's like, what the fuck? No. That's part of the game. That's part of life. Accept it. And if you want to place the blame somewhere, place it on the people that set the stereotype that you're rebelling against.
Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
Hey guys, it's Razor Phipps. I was just going to chime in on this for a second, and then I'll let you guys continue.
All right, chime in, will ya?
All right. Look, what brings my ass off the can about the whole profiling thing is, like, for instance, like at the airport, right? Like, that's where it goes down the most with the TSA, right? It seems like to me after, 9/11, the TSA, if they're brown, pat them down, right? Which is fine. And that subsisted for about 3 months. Until the ACLU and every other shrieking leftist pressure group started pissing in their ear about
Hey, quality. Watch the language now.
Family show.
So now I'm like, if I go to the airport, I'm standing in line waiting for 20 straight minutes as they frisk down an 80-year-old white woman with a colostomy bag and a walker, right? Yeah, way to thwart Al-Qaeda there, Reno 911.
Right.
I think it was Dennis Miller who said, patting down every other Jewish grandma at the airport makes sense only if we're at war with every other grandma.
Right.
And that's what pisses me off. Yeah.
Well, again, it goes back to, all right, we've been accused of profiling, so now we're going to go 180 degrees and profile somebody that's completely unlikely, so we get that heat off our back.
Yeah. well, that's the thing. That's basically what I'm saying here. Is what you call profiling, I call being minimally fucking observant. Like that's the history is what matters. If your store has been waylaid by a bunch of black chicks that are stealing everything that isn't nailed down, you're probably going to profile black. You know what? Let's not even make a racial component. I remember working at a comic shop, and we used to get our worst thief wasn't even. It was people who listen to ICP.
Was it right? Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash in Red Bank, New Jersey?
No, it was not. And I swear to God, anything that wasn't bolted to the floor, they would walk out of the fucking store with, right?
Right.
So it was absolutely ridiculous. But so we profiled juggalos, not because they're a racial subset, but because juggalos walked in and stole everything that wasn't nailed down. That's how it works. So,
yeah,
that's where I have a problem.
If they came in with the hatchet man shirt, you fucking followed them like a hawk.
Oh yeah, we were on them like Pavarotti on a ballpark Frank. We were there, right?
Right.
So it was, and we were like leaning over their shoulder. Like we weren't subtle about it too. We'd be in their ass until they left the store. Like right. Us being nailed to their ass would cause them to leave the store, which was probably in the win column, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, that's where I'm. Anyways, I just wanted to chime in on that for a second. Keep doing what you're doing. Hail and kill, hand job, and so forth. Later.
I don't think anybody's ever added so forth to that.
I like hand job and so forth.
And so forth.
What is the so forth to a hand job?
I don't know. Using a Kleenex and wiping it up? I don't know. All right. Let me see if we can finish this up and call it a night.
Right.
And even with that, I know I have been lucky. Every day, black people in this country are subjected to racism, no matter how well-dressed, how well-spoken, or how well-mannered they are.
Right.
Well, again, this goes back to your point about the previous experience.
Yeah.
So much of my life has been spent watching and listening to people telling me that the way I could avoid or not be subjected to racism was as if I acted white. No, how come it isn't just acting like a decent human being?
Yeah, why
is it acting white? Why isn't it just acting like a decent human being instead of being acting out and being I don't know, objectionable in the way that you conduct yourself with quoting rap lyrics and dressing like a I don't know, I'm going to use the racist term, a thug.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, how come it's just not acting like a normal, decent person of society?
Yeah, if not acting like a criminal makes me act white, then so be it. Then I'm proud to act white.
Right.
Period.
This summer, which was one of my particularly plagued by racially charged encounters, was garnered national attention. I felt that although there were many conflicted opinions, a generally accepted point was that if so-and-so hadn't been dressed this way or acted that way or talking in such a way, he or she wouldn't have suffered through whatever undeserved ill treatment he or she received.
Okay.
All right. Well, this all boils down to behavior once again.
Yeah.
And I've always said that. It's always it's about behavior.
Yeah.
But having lived dutifully under this act white code while still experiencing racist encounter, I find it ridiculous when people assert over and over again that the race problem in America is so much a race problem as something stemming from the way that African Americans talk, act, or present themselves.
She's wrong. She's just wrong. She's 100% wrong on that statement. There's again, yes, you are being profiled because you're a black woman. You absolutely are. You're being profiled not as you're a stupid nigger bitch, but you're being profiled against what has happened in the past.
Sure.
You're being profiled against those before you.
Right.
So, again, don't be mad at the person that profiles you. Be mad at the community that sets you up to be fucking judged that way.
Exactly. It is completely naive of us to try to believe that if black people act a certain way, they can avoid the racism and the lies at the stitches of American ideology. I think it's unfortunate. I think it's I'll start this again. I think it's an unfortunate reality that in order to avoid some possible race-based interactions, black people have to act and behave in a way that might be contrary to how they would be more comfortable or natural.
Okay.
So basically what she's saying that it's more natural and comfortable to act like a thug.
I don't think she's saying exactly that, but she goes to a much bigger problem that I have in this country as a whole. It's the entire fucking everybody wants to come here and no one wants to assimilate. It's the same shit as fucking people that want to come here and they want you to accommodate them with a fucking Spanish language on the phone and somebody to speak to them in fucking their language, and they don't want to learn to read, and they don't want to assimilate to the way of America.
Well, isn't that what Gene Simmons said a few weeks ago, that if Siri has a problem understanding you, you've got a real problem?
Yeah.
Isn't that what he said?
Yeah. But there's a couple things with this. One, she's technically correct. Some of the things, if you're talking like a street level thug, then you're going to fucking get treated like a street level thug. Just because that makes you comfortable in your fucking surrounding, that doesn't make me as the store owner or as the fucking movie ticket taker or whatever. That doesn't mean I have to be comfortable with what makes you comfortable.
Right.
And if I'm not comfortable, I'm putting my eye on you, no matter what. And that's where they miss this completely. And if you really analyze what she's saying right now, you'll see it. She's saying this, and that is bad. And if I want to act this way, I should be able to. And technically, she's 100% correct. If she wants to act in a certain way that makes her feel comfortable with her people, with her family, with her friends, whatever, go ahead and do it. But do not for one fucking second think that me, the other side of it that doesn't give a fuck about you or your family, has to fucking accommodate it.
Right.
No more than you have to accommodate what makes me a fucking successful white guy.
Sure.
You don't have to like the music I listen to. You don't have to like the TV shows I watch. You don't have to like the way I speak. You don't have to like any of it. And you get no say in it. Just like I get no say in what she does. But I guarantee you I get say if I own a business and she comes in and says, yo, I be wanting a fucking job, I got plenty to say when I say no. Because I'm going to make my assumption based on what I want for my goddamn business.
Right.
And that's where it's always forgotten. They just, and I don't want to say they as in like the big group. I'm saying people that argue racism like this constantly, and I do mean constantly, make these points like their point is important and nobody else's matters.
Right.
And she's doing it right now.
Sure. Well, again, it comes down to what I've said a couple of times tonight. You can't legislate behavior.
No. Can't
do it.
Nope.
Now, when I was in college, this was way back in 1983.
Right.
One of the criteria for receiving government assistance, i.e. food stamps or whatever it is, that you had to turn in a job seeker form, every month to show that you were out there actively looking for a job to receive your entitlements or benefits, as it were.
Right.
And I was going to school in Lima, as you know.
Right.
And I was working at the Lima Mall.
Okay.
And these people of African American origin would often come into the store with their piece of paper because they had to have this piece of paper signed by store managers or business owners to say that they came in there seeking a job.
Sure.
And they would not come in and say, are you hiring today, or could I fill out an application or anything like that? They would walk in the door and they go, you hiring? They wouldn't come in and ask for an application. They would just say, are you hiring?
Yeah.
Because you knew that they weren't serious about a job.
Right. They just wanted to get the paper signed.
And they go, could you sign this paper? And you go, no. Because you weren't coming in here with serious intent to get a job.
Right.
You were just pencil whipping the paperwork, as it were.
So that you can get your cash.
That's it. So it was our job, or at our discretion, I should say,
right,
that you weren't serious about filling out an application and getting a job here. You just wanted your paper signed.
Right.
And you would go, no, I'm not signing your paper.
Yeah.
Hit the road.
Yeah, you didn't even fill out an application.
Yeah, racist.
Yeah, and based on your presentation coming in here, I don't feel like I need to give you an application.
No, not at all. So to continue on, but the reality is that as often as media and people try to tell black people we can be safe if we act white, I don't remember media ever saying that.
Never heard that.
It is not going to prevent us from being subject to people who are inherently racist or unfair political and judicial institutions that are stacked against us. I say that racism has become covert because instead of it being acceptable for white people to yell obscenities or forcibly create barriers to either separate black people or disadvantage them, we have instead accepted a system of viewing black people as victims to themselves.
So break the stereotype.
Well, again, the way that I look at it is a lot of minorities are self-segregating.
Mm-hmm.
They segregate themselves.
Well, in fairness, so do white guys.
True.
The white community segregates itself away from the black community and away from the Latino community and whatnot. Of course they do. That's part of fucking human nature.
It is. You kind of like gravitate toward your own.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of nature.
It is.
Human nature. That's just nature in general.
Well, getting back to human nature, that's why guys yell at a pretty girl, hey, baby!
Yeah.
Well, we need to regulate that, goddammit.
Oh, we do.
Where's our legislature when we need them?
Everybody should mix.
Right.
We should be together. One happy family.
Right. We project this image that if it weren't for how they carried themselves, they wouldn't be subject to, let's see where I lost my place here, wouldn't be subject to certain types of treatment. But the fact of the matter is that with that, what we are truly saying is that what is hindering black people is the fact that they are black. No, that's not what's hindering black people.
It's really not.
We need to look at race as an issue that can no longer hang out in the back corners of what are considered modern-day American problems.
She's so wrong on this.
I know, but this is a young I'm assuming this is a young person writing this.
That's just clueless. Dude, forget any and all race. I'll go to a completely non-racist thing. If you want to get a job in an oil, you got your job, what, 2 years ago?
2.5. Okay.
So 2.5 years ago, you went in to get your job. Roughly 2.5 years ago, you had an interview to get your job, right?
True. Yep.
Did you wear your leather jacket and a pair of leather pants and your fucking some CMS gear to the interview?
No.
Or did you wear appropriate clothing?
I wore dress pants and a button-down shirt and a tie, and had my hair cut and shaved and well coiffed, as it were.
You walked into it in a let's be honest, in an uncomfortable getup, but it was appropriate for the gig.
That is true.
Okay. Now, let's equate that to what she's saying right now. She's saying that the stereotype is out there that you have to act a certain way and you have to you have to quote unquote act white. That's her words, right?
Yeah, because white people are decent is what she's basically saying.
Okay, well, that's fine, but I'm going to equate it to actual real business. To be in real business, to get your foot in the door in real business, you have to dress a certain way. It doesn't have to be comfortable to you. You have to present yourself in a certain way. And let's face it, we all go into a job interview and lie. That's part of the game. You go in and you say things that you think will fucking get you the job. You wear the clothes that you think will get you the job. You're never going to wear that shit out.
No.
When's the last time you wore those same clothes that you wore to that interview to go out?
I haven't.
Never.
No, you like you say, you dress for the part. Let's equate that to
the part.
Well, let's equate that to just yesterday. Yesterday was Halloween.
Right.
To be a part of Halloween, you had to dress up in a costume.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that's a little extreme in comparison, but
right.
But it's the same thing.
It is.
To fit in with Halloween, you had to put on a mask or put on a costume or dress a certain way.
But her contention is that she shouldn't have to play the game.
Yeah, you should just accept her the way she walks in, whether she just rolled out of bed or not, or whether she brushed her teeth, or whether her hair is all fucked up, or whether she put on makeup that day, or you should just accept her as she is.
Right. And my contention is, much like a job interview, life is set up that you have to play the game in order to win it.
Right.
And if you don't play the game, then you're going to be pushed back. You're going to lose.
That's true.
And and I don't see why her or anybody else that's race baiting like this doesn't see that. Play the fucking game. Stop thinking that it's about your fucking color and realize it's about how you present yourself.
Well, again, it's a behavioral thing.
Yeah. And if she's saying she doesn't want to quote unquote act white, okay, don't. But then accept what you're going to get. Don't bitch about it. Accept it. That's all. Just accept that you're going to be less than what you could be.
Right.
That's not being white. Believe me, there's a lot of broke white people. Me and you included.
True. Have you ever visited a trailer park? Go see what those people look like.
I don't think most of them are black.
No.
I think most of them are fucking toothless white people.
Yeah, meth heads.
They really are.
And those people get treated the same way.
Yeah, but am I wrong in thinking that most trailer parks are full of white people?
They are. At least the ones I've visited.
Ones I've been to, too. I rarely see a black family coming out of the trailer. Honestly.
Yeah. All right. There's only one paragraph here left.
All right.
We have perpetuated this idea that we could partially justify awful things that happened to black Americans because of how they were acting or dressed that characterized them as suspicious or dangerous.
Yeah, it doesn't happen to white people at all.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because me having long hair, wearing a leather jacket, or looking like the Sons of Anarchy, that doesn't influence people's way that they view you.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Nope.
Of course not. It's only skin.
When I grew my long beard over the fall and winter, when I had the real long beard, like I had at the Rock on the Range or whatever,
right?
That didn't get me judged differently than I do now, where I've got the much shorter beard.
Right.
That had nothing to do with it.
Of course not.
Stupid.
I can tell you this from personal experience. I mean, you knew me when my hair was like in the middle of my back.
Right, yeah.
Trust me, people treat you different.
They do.
It was my right to do that, and I just accepted the way that I was treated, but I didn't bitch about it.
No, you just dealt with it.
It's just like, dude, I know. I got long hair. Yeah, I'm a white guy. I look like a rocker. I look like a biker.
Yeah.
And if you are scared of me or weary of me, I get it.
Yeah, tough shit.
Yeah. Didn't change anything.
Nope.
It's just like I knew what the reaction was. It was just like, ooh, look at that guy. He's going to fucking fuck my world up.
Right.
Yeah, I bet you he's dangerous. I bet you he sells drugs.
Yeah, probably
I bet
does.
you he rides a Harley. I bet you he, robs liquor stores.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yep.
For us to truly arrive at a post-racial society, the conversation needs to shift from a focus on how black people should act to evade racism in America toward a conversation that more directly tackles the broader external forces that perpetuates prejudice still today. The perceived need to modify black behavior is purely a function of the framework of racism that already exists. As soon as the framework collapses, it will follow that the instance that black Americans should act in appropriate ways to protect themselves will disappear.
So those that have succeeded have to adapt to those who haven't.
Well, basically what she's saying that we shouldn't have to act appropriately. You should just accept us for whatever it is we choose to do, whether we're thuggish, whether we're gangster rappers, whether we're good citizens, whether, whatever. It doesn't matter what our actions say. You should just all accept us just the same.
This girl's going to struggle very hard in the real world.
I know. I mean, if you saw, say, like Jay-Z or a Lil Wayne, would you look at them and go, man, those are good guys?
No, I'd be scared of them.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Why? Because of why? Because they're black or because of their behavior?
Truthfully, at Lil Wayne, I'd see all those fucking weird tattoos. I'd be like, fuck you, man. Stay away from me.
Right.
I know that's a fucking stereotype. And
why? Because he's black or because of his behavior or his appearance?
His behavior.
It's not because he's black, right?
Oh, the black part's the least of my worries.
That's my point.
I'll tell you a very quick story. I have a customer that I'm actually forming a few businesses with, on the side, a couple of small things, nothing huge. But I did not know him until a year ago. I met him a year ago, black guy. I have nothing but respect. Nothing but respect. You know why? Because he conducts himself like a successful man.
Right.
Successful black man.
Sure.
A successful man. When him and I have conversations, we've got to be friends, and he lives in town, and, blah, blah, blah. And we've gotten to be pretty good friends. And never in the entire time, in the entire year that we've been developing the stuff that we're developing and the friendship that's built from it and whatever, has it been this thing like, hey, this is my black friend. It's just, this is my friend Eben, and that's it.
Right.
And we treat each other with appropriate respect for each other. I don't fucking adapt who I am because he's a black dude. He doesn't adapt who he is because I'm a white dude. We just treat each other fucking with respect.
Right.
And if everybody did that, then guess what? There would not be a racial component to worry about.
Yeah, that's probably because he's a white acting black guy.
Yeah, he sure is. So stupid.
Since you're such a big Browns fan, you remember Greg Pruitt, right?
Certainly do.
Running back Greg Pruitt. Mm-hmm. He went off to open some car dealerships after his NFL career.
Right.
And I went to a Greg Pruitt car dealership.
Okay.
And he was there.
Okay.
And it was like, hey, Greg Pruitt, how you doing, man? Shake hands.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. Good to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought, hey, that's the black guy, Greg Pruitt.
Yeah, hey, that's number 34, black man.
Yeah, never occurred to me.
Oh.
Didn't even enter my thoughts at all. Hey, there's a black guy that used to be a running back for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think a big part of the problem that the black community tends to dwell on too is that this isn't going to change overnight because the problems of that create the stereotypes are still going on. The stereotypes won't go away until they just stop happening.
Right.
Until they're so rare in happening that it's just stupid. There's stereotypes that do go away. A stereotype can definitely go away. If the behavior stops with a stereotype, then it slowly but surely goes away. But it doesn't go away where you still turn on the news or you still get a friend that works at a store or something that tells you man, these fucking 6 black kids came in and fucking robbed our store.
Sure.
Doesn't end when you get YouTubing of flash mobs coming in and fucking robbing a store blind.
Right.
You know, that kind of shit keeps the stereotype alive. And that, you know, you've seen these flash mob videos,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You see these flash mob, well, the news runs these things. If it happens in your town, the news runs the story. There was a flash mob at fucking Walmart today where 300 kids using Twitter came in and robbed the store for 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay. That happens, you go away. Mom and pop store that owns fucking Bill's Hardware in your town, and now you're the blackface after they watched the news last night? Don't blame Bill for fucking protecting his shit. Blame every one of them 300 people in the flash mob that made Bill scared of you.
Right.
The blame is always in the wrong place. It's always in the wrong place.
Right.
They, and by they, I mean anybody that is race baiting like this, those people should blame the people that made them part of the race that is looked down on.
Sure.
Not the guy that's just trying to protect his shit.
Yeah. Well, I've told this story, you know, a while back that I met Jimmy J.J. Walker, you know,
Right.
Mr. Dynamite.
Uh-huh.
Never occurred to me to go, hey, there's that black comedian, Jimmy J.J. Walker.
Hey, there's Jimmy Walker, black man.
Yeah, it just occurred to me, hey, that's Jimmy J.J. Walker.
He just looked at him and said, "Dynamite!"
Yeah, exactly. But it never occurred to me, hey, that's the black guy, Jimmy J.J.
No, never.
It was just like, hey, that's Jimmy J.J. Walker, you know? It never occurred to me, hey, that's a black guy.
No, never.
No, because he just does what he does. He, you know, oh, well, that's because he has money, so that makes a difference too.
Sure.
So stupid.
It is.
But if Jimmy J.J. Walker if I owned a store and Jimmy J.J. Walker walked into my store, I wouldn't go, man, you better keep an eye on him. He's going to rob my store.
Yeah.
Would never cross my mind.
Oh, you just be fine with it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. There's reasons for the stereotype, and
Right.
the reason is not always rampant racism.
Right.
That's always and that's always forgotten. Always forgotten in this argument. You know, this girl here, she pressed this article, whatever. She doesn't give one hint of acknowledging why people are staring at her, are watching her in the store. She doesn't even acknowledge the fact that maybe something happened in that store, which is why she's on the radar. It's just an automatic leap to, I'm black, therefore I'm wrong. You know,
True.
isn't it? I mean,
No, but again, I'm assuming because she's a college person that she's probably a young person and lacks any life experience or real life experience.
yeah, but it's the same throughout. And for the most part, it is the same throughout. Look at all these fucking idiots in Ferguson, Missouri. You know, there's no actual, let's see what the evidence is. Once they saw what the evidence was, they're still like, oh, who's going to trust that?
Well, and again, this is an age-old argument, but I'm really pissed off. I'm angry. Let's burn our town down and let's loot the stores.
Yeah, let's bankrupt the fucking businesses that keep us alive. Good idea.
I mean, that's what happened in Watts in L.A.
Yeah.
They did the same thing. There were the Watts riots. They burned the stores down. They looted everything, and not one investor wanted to ever invest in the Watts area ever again. So now it's a poor, destitute, rundown area of Los Angeles because it's like, fuck that. I'm not putting my money in there.
And I bet you wouldn't have to interview 5 people before you found somebody saying, well, it's just the white man that fucking abandoned this area.
Yeah. It wasn't because people were looting or burning the buildings or you know,
Right.
terrorizing the town. It was because, well, you're just racist.
Yeah, exactly.
So silly.
So stupid.
All right, dude, I've had enough racism for one night.
Right? Not exactly our funniest show.
Well,
ever.
I know, but it was very poignant, and I had to get it off my chest because this was bugging me all week. This bunch of nonsense.
Well, build some more up for next week.
Well, there's still more to cover. We didn't even get to your podcast and other things.
And that podcast literally had me fuming.
All right. Well, we'll cover that next week. But
So,
all right. Well, just remember, turn your clock back 1 hour.
yep, we
Go-
split the difference with them tonight. We gave them almost 7 hours.
Yeah. And go vote on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Regardless of your affiliation, go vote on Tuesday.
All right, AOR Rocks. That photo's funny.
And, act like responsible citizens and stop being fucking racists.
Yeah. Bitches.
And stop walking down the street acting like cat calls are against the law.
Yeah, because
And-
they're not.
And don't whip your titty out in a restaurant and be offended when somebody takes your picture.
Right.
Well, we've covered a lot of good stuff tonight.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not funny, but serious topics are welcome sometimes.
But I did like Len Tillum.
Len Tillum was funny.
He was good.
Yeah.
It's real good. Go check him out over that Spreaker, Len Tillum show.
Yeah, the Len Tillum show. I'm going to check him out.
I was pleasantly surprised when I took a few minutes to listen.
Sure.
All right. Well, we want to thank I forgot the guy's name. What's his name? Sharon?
Mark Sharon.
Mark Sharon of Hurt Smile.
Right.
Thank him for coming on the show tonight and all that good stuff, and everybody who tuned in the chat room and so on and so forth. And turn your clocks back. Sleep in an hour.
That's right. And no guests next week.
Oh, okay. That's fine with me.
Yeah,
I will be traveling to the Kansas City area. I might have to look up Tony from Kansas City
There you go.
because I'll be there all week.
Oh, yeah, you should look him up.
Yeah, Tony, I will be in Kansas City Monday through Friday. So if you're listening to the show, hit me up with an email.
I'll hit him on the Facebook and give him your cell.
Yeah. So we'll go hook up for a drink or something.
Yeah, he's not drinking anymore, remember?
Oh, okay, whatever. We'll go have some dinner or some nachos or what do Mexicans eat?
Is that a stereotype?
Yeah, that was the whole
They
idea.
eat the same thing that we do
Right.
because everybody's the same.
Exactly. All right, Tony, I'll be in your neck of the woods all week.
Y'all can have some rice cakes because that can't offend anybody.
Right. Very white.
Right.
White rice and white.
I
White
don't know
is
that you
right.
want to have white ones, though, because that could be deemed as racism.
True.
Maybe you could get a colored one, like one of those that has like food coloring that's like a nice...
Well, let's just settle for the Uncle Ben's.
let's go blue. That way, there's no blue people out there, or not, at least not many, except those three guys. So, other than offending those three guys, blue would be okay.
Sure. Nice. All right, dude. Well, as always, I'm going to let you pick a closing song. You got something in mind?
How about, let me think here. How about Extreme? You got 3 sides to every story over there?
I think so. Let me look at the old catalog here. Extreme?
Yeah.
3 sides to every story. Yes, I have that.
The very last song on there is probably my favorite tune they ever did. Which
Who
is called,
cares?
No, not that one. So I guess not the very last one. The one before it. Am I ever going to change?
Am I ever going to change? I got it.
That is a killer song.
All right. Well, we will do this. We'll be back next Saturday. We'll have some more racism and more hatred and more white supremacy for you because
Sure.
that's what we do.
Exactly. The racist capital of the internet.
Yep, because we are racist and we only believe in the white cause.
Right.
All right, we're going to get out of here. So thanks for everybody tuning in. We'll be back next Saturday night. So this is Neeley along with my very good friend.
Chris Hagen.
And we're gone.
Bye, kids.